Am I in here right? Or
Yes, you
Yep.
are. Here we go. I'm trying to make you a co-host. I don't know why it's...
did we click on the wrong action?
No. Here we go. I will be smarter than Zoom. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, so I had to promote you to a panelist. And now I'm making you co-hosts, and we should be all good to go. Woohoo! We're getting there.
Yeah. There's Courtney.
All right.
There she is.
There we go. Okay, now I just need to go live on Facebook. This is the most jittering part.
We got Betsy. Betsy here.
Mm-hmm.
Betsy, put your video on. I don't
Oh,
think
thanks.
There she is.
There
There's a
we
pretty
go. All right. Thank you for being patient. We are almost there. I feel like we have a liftoff sequence we need to do. 3, 2, 1. And it's saying that we are streaming. Okay, it looks like we might be live on Facebook. So welcome everybody. My name is Jessica Morrison, Realtor with Ferris Property Group. I am super excited to introduce Hankey Development with Holliday Farms, as well as Star Financial, who is the preferred lender for this community. With Hankey Development, we have Betsy, and then with Star, we have Rich Shelnut and Courtney Lloyd. And Betsy, is it Betsy Hankey Garfield? I can't see your full Zoom
Yep.
name. So I'm 100% on my names today. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any familiarity with the Zionsville area, you will know that Holliday Farms is the hot place to be building a luxury custom home. And I'm going to turn it over to Betsy, who's going to tell us all about the background on this community and why you should consider not only possibly building at Holliday Farms, but the upcoming big Home-A-Rama event as well.
Thanks, Jessica. Yes, so we are really excited to introduce Holliday Farms to people that haven't been there. It is located in Zionsville, just off US 421, just slightly north of Willow Road, which runs kind of into the downtown of Zionsville, and slightly south of 146th Street. So we basically span about 500 acres, actually, of just beautiful wooded rolling terrain, creeks, everything from 421 over to Eagle Creek. So Eagle Creek is our western boundary, and that runs all the way into downtown Zionsville. So we are blessed with beautiful surroundings. And so when we saw this first property, we knew it could be something really special. We've always said with all of our developments, just do whatever you can to not screw up what Mother Nature has given you. So we hold that dear to our hearts. And so you'll find as you travel if you travel through Holiday, or if you travel through Chatham Hills, another one of our projects, like roads will wind and, they'll follow the contours of the land as much as possible and kind of preserve what's there. And so when we were laying out Holiday, that's definitely something that we kept in mind. The property itself was a part of an even larger parcel, just kind of in the middle of Zionsville, which was previously owned by the Rogers family, and she was a Holiday. And so the family had held the property for a long time, and so that's how it has its name, Holiday, with the 2 L's. It's named after their family. And so when we were initially talking with them, we had really great plans to do a golf course community. They have a love for golf, and they had been approached, dozens of times by different builders and developers over, 30 years. As you can imagine, it's all completely grown up around them in terms of residential. So they'd heard their share of offers and plans and had not done anything with the property. And so when we began conversations with them, we, felt a lot of trust with them, and we felt like we would be good stewards of the property. And so it was just kind of a natural relationship for two families, almost, ensuring that this property lives on in a really beautiful way. And so, so there are, a lot of elements that we've held close to us that they, had asked for and to try to keep. And so we've done a lot of that, and they've been really happy with it. And now the public is seeing this beautiful property, and we are currently in our third phase of residential lots. We started releasing lots about a year and a half ago, and there are probably over 150 lot owners out there now, and homes are now currently underway. Probably about 30 to 40 homes under construction, and 11 beautiful homes are now finished, fully furnished, just gorgeous landscaping, everything. And those will be in Home-A-Rama starting next week. So that show will kick off for about a 3-week show, and that will, it starts next Thursday and runs until October 4th. And that is actually not run through us. It's actually put on by the Builders Association of Indianapolis, which is Baggy. So that they kind of organize everything, and they really handle all the logistics, but we're kind of lucky to be the host to like a cool event like this. So, so yeah, we'll be out there. The other big aspect that we're doing right now is the golf course. This was one of Pete Dye's last designs. Chatham Hills, the other project that I mentioned, was probably the last course that Pete Dye, world-renowned architect, golf course architect, probably the last course he designed and built and oversaw with his, time every week for 5 years. And so we were lucky to have him design Holliday before his passing last year. So it's a really special piece. The course is almost finished with construction. Probably have about 2 holes to go. They've been seeding and sodding and everything like that. And we probably anticipate opening the course next summer. So summer of 21. So.
That's fantastic. I love learning all about the history, and I'm sure each of us and those watching are just finding all of this information fascinating. How did you guys get connected with Pete Dye? That's kind of off topic, but
yeah, great question. Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually a family company. I work with my father and my brother, as well as numerous other individuals who now all feel like family because we spend so much time together. So most people think like some of the guys that I work with are my brother. They don't know. So which is great. I'm fine with it. But my father actually was an attorney for a few decades here in Indianapolis, and really always developed a knack for real estate, and just loved doing that, buying and selling little pieces here and there. And then there emerged an opportunity, a long time ago, probably almost 20 years ago. And that is now what we all know as the Bridgewater Club in kind of on the Carmel-Westfield border. And when he was doing that project, that's originally how we first met the Dyes. Obviously, Pete Dye lives here in Carmel. And when he was talking to other people in the industry of who they were considering using to design Bridgewater, people were like, "You're crazy if you don't use him." And naturally, it was an amazing decision. He's, there's probably very few architects that are as well known around the world as Pete Dye. And so we were just really blessed to have him here down the road. He lives in like 116th Street. And so, I think during their relationship, there was just so much of a bond when they were first doing Bridgewater. He would be out there all the time with the construction crews. People would say, who's that little man? And my dad would always say, "That's Pete Dye." And they're like, "Oh my gosh." And so He was just that work ethic, and his design expertise is just kind of unparalleled. And so then when we started doing Chatham, he was on board, and it was just really incredible to drive around with him, as as most people are always focused when it comes to golf of how long will this hole be, or, where will this green go? He consistently is looking at a topography map and studying where's the water going. He's not looking at the things you and I, find exciting about a golf course, how you're going to play the hole. Is it going to bend to the right or left? He's constantly looking at, where's this stream go? Where's this water going to go? How big's the lake? And so it was just neat to see his mind, processing as we would drive raw ground out here at Chatham. And then, certainly it was a natural fit when we were doing Holliday. His wife, Alice Dye, who is also since passed, she was actually related to Mary Rogers and the Holliday family. And Alice actually spent time at Holliday Farms, the property prior to it all being called Holliday Farms, but the property when she was younger growing up. And so kind of just a small world that, that ended up being the last circle, that they were involved with, was a place that she knew, dear to her heart. So kind of a neat connection that we've been blessed to have in our life, to know them, to see how much they care about, I just loved their humbleness and how much they, were supportive of their construction crews and the designers and the engineers that they worked with, and just how well respected they are in their industry. So those are things that, can never change no matter what. The courses will always have their names on it. So yeah.
That's beautiful. I don't know how we can top a story like that one.
It is a great
They're
story.
pretty incredible.
I love the little man comment.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Holliday Farms, and I know the people that you've had come in and inquire about the community have been familiar with it, but let's kind of segue into talking about it and maybe showing some visuals for those who are not, or are maybe moving into Indianapolis from out of state and are considering their options when it comes to housing.
So yeah, I'm happy to, so can you see that, Jessica? My screen?
Not at the moment, but sometimes there's a delay.
Okay.
This reminds me of the Verizon, I think it's Verizon, the old commercials. Can you hear me now? Or
Yep.
and then I think Taco Bell did their spin.
There, is that visible or no?
We should put that on a t-shirt. Can you see me now? No,
Okay.
not yet. Maybe third time's a
Okay.
charm.
There you go. I have it up. Can you see that or no?
Not yet.
Must not. Okay. Oh well, I'll just talk about it. So,
Okay.
so like I said, Holiday's in kind of the central part of Zionsville. It is just south of 146th Street or 300 East. It kind of turns into 300 over there. Located along 421. It's all Zionsville schools, and it is probably about 15 minutes north of 465. Not too bad. Just a straight shot down 421 and you hit 465. You're just slightly west of Carmel, and kind of all of the amenities that way, but also fairly quick access to 65, kind of on the west side of those northern suburbs. So really great location, less than 10 minutes to the downtown village there in Zionsville, which is historical and has a great feel. And then Holliday is kind of, like I said, right along Eagle Creek. So it has just a really beautiful setting. And we, and from like a residential standpoint, it's you can now, there are areas now that you can start construction on a home. So for a while it was, you know, simply like lots and waiting to be able to start, but now there's numerous homes underway. So there's lots in different sections, and we kind of have like a wide range of home sites available, because obviously, you know, people are in different places of their life, and in a community like Holliday, where every lot includes a social membership, where that allows people to play our 9-hole par 3 course. They will have access to the clubhouse that will be under construction, you know, in the future, and that will have fitness, indoor outdoor swimming, dining, and tennis. And so what's really nice is people of all, you know, places in their life enjoy those things. So whether you're young and you've got little babies at home and you want to just have a pool, like that works for folks. And or if you're, you know, a lot of times we see a lot of people relocating back to the area, or they're moving because their grandkids live in the area. And so it's just like a great community to have, you know, to be able to have things that connect you to people if your children are all grown. So we see that at Chatham Hills all the time, where, you know, people will move in from out of state because their grandkids or something live here, and they, you know, they don't have the same kind of same kind of things that used to help parents bond, you know, like youth sports games and, you know, their classroom parents, you know. So if you're older and retired, you don't really have those kind of things. And so a golf community is really popular because it can unite people in ways, and they can find friends of their own. So they're not just with their, you know, not just relying on their daughter or son or whomever to like make friends in the community. And so they have their own group and feel. And so that's how we really envision, you know, Holliday as well. So just all ages, all places in people's lives. And so we try to develop out a range of home sites that, you know, that are appealing for that as well. So there are, you know, home sites from 50 feet wide, which is like cute and quaint village style. People that aren't looking for a lot of maintenance, maybe people that, you know, even head south for the winter for, you know, 6 months of the year, all the way to large, you know, acre plus estates that, you know, are super private and perfect for like big, beautiful, you know, custom home. And so there's like a huge range. The other nice thing is that when you build on a course, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not a golfer, you know, and I would say that's probably the norm. Only about 40% of people that actually live on a golf course play. Most people just, it's really great because you have green space out your backyard that you don't maintain. You have usually a beautiful setting, and it's also like kind of a nice conversation tool. So if you're, you know, say you're near a tee box and you've got friends over and you're having drinks, and people don't always hit it great. So it tends to be, sometimes it's a great thing to have, and, you know, can be a nice entertainment thing too. So we also find that having golf within the community can be kind of a uniting factor, whether people play or not. So, you know, frequently if someone's neighbor is like playing around one day, they might say, hey, like come meet me for dinner at the club, and, you know, and everybody can go, you know. And so sometimes it's just a nice way to like bring people together in a different, you know, within your neighborhood. But that is, you know, as far as living there, I mean, there's like a lot of options. And so we usually try to just help people, you know, they can visit us at the Holliday House, which is right off 421, which is kind of our little sales office. It's an old historic building, red brick, can't miss it. And so we usually just kind of start with people and help understand, what are they looking to build, you know? Where are you at right now? We frequently hear, you know, I want to downsize, or I want to upsize. And so we might dive into that a little bit more, because someone who might be coming from 12,000 square feet has a really different idea about what downsizing looks like compared to somebody else. And so we like to, and same with upsizing, you know, it might be like, well, I have, you know, we have more kids now. Okay. Like, Are they, are they of the age where they have a lot of kids over? Are you the house that's going to have 7 kids in the basement, or 7 boys, or the baseball team? And so we like to try to understand, like, how are you going to use your house? What size are you going to look for? We don't actually build any of the houses. We've got 14 builders that you can go pick from, which I think is also a unique aspect of all of our communities, in that you don't have to use one builder. You get to come out, like, we'll take you out, we'll drive lots, we'll show you, and then you can go find the lot you want and then work with any of our 14 builders and kind of go that route. So we like to try to be like a little bit more focused on helping people figure out how a lot will work for them, and also trying to like be conscious of, what they want to spend, what they want to be all in at. We know the ground really well. And so if we know that you don't want to have a lot of site work, we're probably we won't steer you towards a lot that maybe falls off dramatically in the back. We might find something that's going to be a little bit of an easier build, that you're not going to have a retaining wall, or, something like that. But if that's something that somebody's looking for, then, then we can help show them that, so there's a lot of details that go into, buying lots and buying, land that doesn't have a house on it. But it's fun. We jump in a Polaris and we take people out for a few hours, and it's usually a great time. So.
Wow, so much good info. I have to say, the 60% of people who live on golf courses and don't golf is surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly encouraging, because
Yeah.
I always assume, maybe like most people, that most people can play golf and I'm just bad at it. But
Yeah.
I will put a vote in for an adult putt course.
Yeah.
If there is such a thing. Like,
there are, yeah.
it would cater to the 60%.
Yep. And that's also kind of where we have a par 3 course at both of our communities, and that helps a little bit too. So that's good for like beginners, kids, people that aren't looking for like a crazy challenge, or they're just learning the game. Yeah. We have a sip and chip league at Chatham, and I remember meeting one of the women that was playing in it, and they played the 9-hole course, and she was like, "Oh, I just bring a putter. I just show up to putt so I can hang out with all the girls," So it's kind of, everybody can kind of enter at whatever they want. So, yeah.
I love it. Yep. And I think too, like, my husband can play, but he's had rotator cuff surgery in one arm, and he accidentally messed with the other shoulder now, because, having not golfed and then gone back out to golf, and instead of doing 9, he did 18. And I think on the 10th, that was the final straw. And it was just like, I need more practice.
Yep.
So, well, we've talked a bit about the history. We've talked about the community. I drove through it today. It's just breathtaking. You have actually, I feel like there's a standard tree height in some subdivisions around Indianapolis. I don't know what height that is, but like Holliday Farms is like 40% taller trees, if that is such a thing. I know that doesn't sound very educated, but they're very tall and very beautiful. And it's not, for Indiana, it's not a flat piece of ground. It's hilly. So for those not familiar, for you to get elevations like that, you're going to have to get more towards water. So you're looking at Cicero, or maybe South Fishers in the Geist area, or more towards Brown County. And so for this to be on the west side and in Zionsville schools is, I can see why you're selling like crazy. And speaking of selling, where do your lot prices start, and how far do they, like, what's your most expensive lot or largest size?
Yeah.
And then also average sales prices for homes that you've seen so far with building.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's a little tough for like average home prices. Obviously, people, like I said, since we will sell the lot to them, and then they have the ability to, go kind of do a design build with a builder, or they have the ability to have like an architect draw plans, and then they could go bid it to, as many builders as they wanted. And so it kind of puts the ball in their hands to go and do a lot of that. And so we work with them in that aspect. So we don't always know like what they end up spending on their house, but as a general rule of thumb, like most of the time, lots are, they say to kind of budget, more or less, it's usually about 25%, 25 to 30% of the total cost of a house is the lot. So, that's kind of a good rule of thumb. It can be higher or lower, certainly depending on maybe a setting or a view will really guide, that will guide price, so you might have the same size of a lot, but on one street it might be, X, but on another street it has nothing behind it. It's got, big mature trees. It's got the golf course. It's got a lake. That's going to be a lot more. So there's a lot of things that really like punch those prices up. I would say within our community, we probably start at like 139,000 for some of the like 50-foot lots there in like kind of this little like village area that we're doing. It's just like a little little cul-de-sac. It's all gated. And then the prices go up to, 450, 500 plus. And so those would be for larger estates, super private. And, has a lot of like either trees or views or things like that. So you definitely see a lot of that out there. But I would say in general, most of the lots are probably in that, 2 to 350 range. The majority of our home sites are, and probably the majority of the houses are probably going to be in that. I would say you're probably in that 700 to, 2-3 million plus, something like that. So a lot of those 50-foot wide houses, 50-foot lots in kind of our little village area that we call Hamilton Run. Those will probably be in the mid to upper fives. But I would say on average, the majority of what's currently out there is probably in that, 7 or 8 and up. So you're seeing a lot of people, doing a lot of like plans and working with builders, ahead of time. And so we're starting to get those plans in now, and starting to see kind of what they're doing, and how they're handling that. So Rich and Courtney, the bankers, probably know what they spend more easily than we do. So we can usually just guess. But that's kind of the nice thing with like a custom home. Like you can scale it a lot of things. I mean, you could go, if people are like huge on, entertaining, I mean, they can go big on their main floor and they can just, kind of do something basic upstairs. It doesn't really matter. Or they can, if someone's an empty nester and they don't have grandkids now, like maybe their kids are in college or something like that, they might just finish out an area above their garage, leave it plumbed, and then 5-6 years later when maybe grandkids are like a thought, then they can come back and do that, but they've already like finished it out, so they don't have to incur that. That's usually the cheapest time to do it, is like when you're building. And so, but as far as like the details and furnishing it and all of that, they can just put that off for a while. So there are a lot of things you can do with like when you're doing that custom home, because you can kind of like plan like how are we going to use this over time. So
that makes a lot of sense. I love that. On the lower, like you never, theoretically speaking, want to be the most expensive home in the neighborhood, but I think if you had to be in a neighborhood, this one's a good one to be in for marketability purposes. But the fact that you can build theoretically a $500,000 house and be in a neighborhood with 3 million or more, and I'm not going to stick to it, 500. I mean, it's probably north of that, but still, I mean, the fact that price is accessible, you get these amenities plus your neighbors are in that price point, like it's only going to help your value down the road. So that's really cool. So segueing into the financing component, one of the things that I think most consumers don't realize is that when you start to get out of a certain price point with conventional or a certain number when purchasing a home, you start to get into jumbo loans, and people are like, what's jumbo? Is that like a super size me type thing? Like it's not a common layman term unless you've worked more familiar with that price point, or you know someone who has done that before. So I'd like to segue into the financing component, and I think that's a Rich and Courtney discussion. What are some tips, and can you outline the process for somebody who's never built a custom home before, and the things that they should anticipate when it comes to financing?
I can do that. And let me go back to your conforming versus jumbo as well, to kind of explain to folks what that is. So conforming loans are any loan amounts under 510 that a bank would sell to Fannie or Freddie Mac. You can still do loans under that are portfolio loans, but for the most part, if you're talking to most folks, it's either conforming saleable loans or jumbo loans. And even some jumbo loans are sold. Here at Star, the break point for a conforming loan is $510,400. That's the break point. At Star, we actually price our jumbos the same as our conforming loans. So there is no difference. Some banks have to break it up and you do a first mortgage of 510 and a second mortgage so that you can get a better pricing. At Star, the rate's the same. So you probably prefer to do a jumbo loan versus a conforming loan, actually. Now on the, as far as when people want to get ready to build a home, what are the things they should think about if they have never built a home before? Down payment, typically on these loans in Holiday, you're looking at, $750 to, we just did one for $1.8 million. So if you go under $1 million, it's 20% down. If you go over $1 million, it's 25% down. Okay. We're going to collect that down payment at closing, and it's called a construction permanent one-time close. So we collect the borrower's funds at that point. We're going to use those funds first before we get to our loan funds. And when we pay out our loan funds to the builder, at that point, the borrower then starts paying interest only on those funds. Okay. And at the rate we locked. So if we lock a rate at 3.125 for the construction permanent loan, that's your construction rate. And then that will be your end mortgage rate when we roll out to permanent. Okay. And when we're on a fully amortizing loan at that point. I think most people I warn, especially in these larger construction builds, you're probably going to have change orders. So make sure you prepare for that as far as in your budgeting, because once I set my loan amount, that's my loan amount. I can make it less. I just can't make it more unless you refinance it. So always prepare, especially when you're north of 800, that you may have 25,000 or so, maybe 50 of some kind of change order that comes in that you may say, hey, you know what? I wanted this when we started, but we're probably going to do this. So, and Betsy can probably confirm that. That probably happens a lot because I see it happen.
Yeah, you oftentimes see people, who are like, oh, I don't want to do something right now, but then you get into it and you might weigh like, gosh, we should just do it now. If we're going to do it eventually, it's going to be a lot more expensive to go, a lot of times we'll hear that sometimes with like people who are doing pools or things like that, it's depending on how their lot is, it might be a lot easier to go do it, while they're under construction and finish it, or put in a big fire pit, or, just things like that. It's they sometimes realize like, okay, this is maybe the time to do it versus after we've laid all our sod and we've put in all our landscaping, or our neighbor just built next to us, or, when you've got an empty lot next to you, sometimes it's a lot of, you can come through on the side of your lot and not touch them. And so, so a lot of those times, we see people kind of modify or send in, an additional plan or something like that, just to kind of incorporate those changes. Or sometimes like the things above the garage or finishing out a basement, they maybe weren't going to, but then they realized like, for a really small amount, they could just put drywall up and carpet and not do anything, and not do anything else. And so, we frequently hear that. So.
Yeah, so I would add that in my budget if I was the person doing that, to just always be prepared for that.
Yeah. Now, when you say one-time close, obviously the buyer has to buy the lot and then they've got to build the house. So how does a one-time close work when you're trying to both secure the lot and then like, does the close happen sooner or at the time of completion? Just, I'd like to clarify that process.
That's a great question. So the lot purchase is a separate loan from the construction, unless you have the timing perfectly and you know, hey, I've already been talking to a builder. I know I want this lot. We're going to time it all together, or I'm going to pay cash for the lot. I don't need a loan for the lot. But if you do need a loan for the lot and you're not going to build for a year or two, we do offer that. We have lot loans, and they're typically 20% down, interest only, and you have so much time to build. And our interest only product is built around how much time you have to build anyway. And then what happens with that lot loan is it's the first draw is paid. You pay the lot off with it. Okay. So some people don't need a lot loan. They already own the lot. That's their equity or down payment. Like Betsy was saying, usually your 25% of the value is your lot. Well, there's your 20% down is the lot if you paid cash for it. And then you just get a loan for the construction loan if you need one. But if you did get a loan, the first draw pays off the lot. And then you're on your way with the regular draws to the builder after that. Okay, but we do offer those. They're separate loans.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to repeat back what I've heard, hopefully it's correct, because I don't do this every day.
Yep.
And I love learning more about it so that I can better explain it to other people. But if I'm hearing you correctly, it's two loans. You have the lot loan, the construction loan. And when you get to a certain point in equity on the lot loan, that can be your down payment for the construction loan. Is that
So
what
at
you mean
any
by
point,
draw?
yeah. So at any point, you will have equity in this lot.
Right.
Once you buy it, you instantly have your 20% down you put on it,
Mm-hmm.
or the 100% if you paid cash for it.
Correct.
Okay, so that it depends on when you build. Like if you build a year later and you just put a 20% down on it, then you probably have 20% into the lot. Now that's just 20% of 200,000. If you're building $1 million deal, you still have to come up with the rest of the down payment.
Right.
Okay? So that's the difference.
Now I'm sorry if this is super elementary. I just don't like to make assumptions that people are following or fully understand. But when you do get to that point in the construction process, sorry, voice is a little scratchy here. But when you do get to that point, are you able to combine the loans together into one loan, or will they always be separate?
They're always separate. We're going to pay the lot loan off. It's
Okay.
gone. It's no longer there. We have to pay it off. You can only have one loan in place. So we're
Gotcha.
going to pay the lot loan off. So it goes away.
Okay. That makes complete sense. Thank you for entertaining those questions.
No problem. And then I think I have one more. So if we're going to talk about a little more financing, we also have a way to help people get equity out of their current home
Mm-hmm.
if they need a bridge loan or swing loan. And I think Courtney can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the neat things about Star with our competitive offers, we do offer bridge loans. What that means, if you have equity in your primary residence, we can do a home equity line of credit, which is great with the interest only payments. So that gives you the flexibility there at a low interest rate with no fees at all. So for folks that maybe don't want to pay in cash or do the lot loan, the traditional lot loan, they can use the equity in their existing home. So kind of use an asset that they already have to make the purchase on the lot.
You guys make it sound so easy.
Done a lot of them.
So what would you say is the typical timeline, Betsy, from somebody who walks in, maybe has some familiarity with Holliday Farms? How long does it take for them to evaluate a lot and it being right for them, and the next steps from choosing a lot to selecting a builder?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it can really vary. I would say it's totally personal on how quickly like someone, you know, likes something, and really kind of knows what they want to do, or knows like kind of when they want to build, or, you know, those kind of things. What's nice is for all of our lots, we give people 2 years to just simply start construction. So you don't have to build right away. You have 2 years to just literally put a shovel in the ground. And so that kind of gives people a lot of like flexibility, especially like if people, you know, if people are particular about their kids, maybe staying at a certain school, and they want to finish out till 5th grade or whatever, or maybe their kid's almost out of school and they don't want to move yet. Just, you know, a number of reasons, you know, maybe they just want to take their time and like plan their house, you know. So it's kind of a nice flexibility, but it also helps the neighborhood not have a bunch of vacant lots, you know, 10 years from now. So everybody moves in and everybody builds, and then 10, 12 years later, you know, the lot down the street finally starts construction. So it tries to help to prevent that a little bit too. But when people are looking, I mean, the biggest thing that we do, that we've done in all of our communities, is we just encourage people to, you know, to come find us, find an appointment, just make an appointment with us, or just walk in, doesn't really matter. But if it's the weekend, it can be just a little busy sometimes. And we love to just like take people out on site. So we're a little bit different than how you might, you know, go look at houses with like a realtor or something like that. Ours is kind of like a dusty boots. It's like, you know, we'll take we take like Polarises, or we'll take you know, for the ones that are on roads, we certainly can take, you know, a car. But we love to like show people the community first. We'll show you where, you know, if you like golf, we'll show you the course. So, you know, we'll go see the construction of it. We'll go see the tee boxes. You can see them pour sand in the bunkers. You know, you can see them seed a green. You know, we love to take kids around construction. Like, they think it's awesome, you know, and on this Polaris, it's like, you know, open aired, and we're bouncing and we're running through the trees, and, you know, so, I mean, that's the experience. Like we love to give, like we will spend hours with you, you know, if you're like, you know, contemplating between lots or whatnot. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we can help people with is that we know the lots so well. You know, we frequently will stake them, but we can tell people where, you know, where their lot ends, and where the creek comes through, and where they would keep building to, and what they would keep, you know, what they would preserve in the rear of their lot, if there's trees or things like that. So we can just kind of help paint the picture of like, this is how this would orient. Or if someone was, you know, we knew that they, you know, wanted to do a walkout, like we know what lots you probably could do, you know, and certainly we always tell people to check with their builders, but, you know, we won't waste their time like looking at a bunch of stuff that they can't do a walkout on. So we'll take them to areas and we'll show them, you know, or if they want to look west, or they want to look east, or they want to look at a green or a tee box or water. We know where all of those are. So a lot of times we try to just get to know them, get to know like what are they looking for? You know, are they looking to have like kids nearby and easy access for their kids to jump in the street and ride their bikes to friends' houses? And, you know, where's a good spot for that? And so those are some of the things that we like to just do with people, and just really show them like what's going on. It's a totally different way to experience like your property. And so it's, I can't tell you how many like cool photos we have of people both from Chatham and Holliday where, I mean, I'll never forget, like there's, you know, so this is, you know, certainly we've probably had this at Holliday as well, but there's someone I know at Chatham, and I remember the very first time like touring her with her 2 little boys who are now, you know, much older, and they were just like playing in the bunker that had just, you know, been built, and they have this picture of their little boys just playing in this bunker, and now they're like 9 or 10 years old, and they were like 3 or 4, you know, and it's like in their house. And you just don't really have that. You can't find that everywhere. So those are kind of just special moments that that we like to, we like to do. We'll stay out there as late as you want and help you decide. And that's kind of where it starts. Just really driving around and just showing people the property and showing them different sizes and how it would work. And then usually narrowing it down. A lot of times it might be driven for, budget. It might be driven for a feature, do they want to be on the course? Do they want to be off the course? So we might look at, 3 or 4 lots that are off the course if they don't care at all, about the course. So, so then we'll kind of narrow it down and then, help them, make a decision. And it's usually a pretty quick process. So from that point on, once they kind of know.
So basically anybody who's an engineer would love.
They'll have a lot of fun. Yeah. Honestly, Jessica, next time you're out there, I'll take you around. A lot of fun. So
yeah, it was awesome stopping by this afternoon and just getting to talk with you I think I talked your ear off today, but it was just so good to learn more about the community. And yes, absolutely. We'll have to take a Polaris date and
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And see all of that. And especially actually you could market that for like, not roller coaster rides, but I'm sure it would feel the same to kids right now. Like,
we like to say it's our version of Jurassic Park. Like it's kind of like, no dinos, but a lot of fun and, kids sitting around and,
you could, with Halloween coming up, you could hide some in the woods, like the blow up versions.
Yeah.
And make it like a scavenger hunt.
Right. Exactly.
Not that insurance would cover that, but.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this has been super good. So to confirm, you have 14 different builders. Did I hear that correctly?
Correct. Uh-huh. Yep.
And then how many lots do you have available right now? And I know this video, at the time of recording this video, this is obviously subject to change. So pre-Home-A-Rama, how many lots do you have available? And what are those details?
I don't know specifically how many, probably close to 100, something like that. So, I mean, we just opened 2 new areas. So, literally last week. So, and right now in those 2 new sections, we've got almost 30 lots already selected in a week. So, so that's, pretty crazy, but awesome. And so it's really exciting, just a lot of good people, and we're just, had a lot of fun working with them. But we also have future phases coming, over time. We develop them out, usually like a year or so down the road. And so, we kind of have this lot reservation list that a lot of people are on, and certainly we let people you can just join it anytime, and it's $500, not fully refundable, like any day. But basically what that does is then we put all of those names in for future phases. So if we know someone's just holding out and waiting for a lot on the 18th hole one day, they might be on the lot reservation list, and they just kind of keep passing up each phase, and by the time we get to them, when we're doing 18, they'll probably be one of the few, the few remaining of like the originals. And so they'll probably have their first pick at those lots. And so it kind of just rewards people if they've been on for a long time. And so we do that for like future phases to just kind of like honor those that have expressed interest. And then we will do like a lottery for each phase prior to releasing them to the public. So that's kind of how that's set up. And then certainly the builders are able to purchase lots out at Holliday. And some of them have built spec houses in Home-A-Rama. Some of them own lots. And so people could purchase those lots from them. But frequently you would be using that builder. Not all of them will require you, but generally speaking, that's usually kind of implied. And so that's kind of, that's really where you see people kind of like, starting to move and talking with builders. There's, like I said, there's 14 preferred builders. a lot of different styles, a lot of different approaches to the building process. So we are always an open book. Like, we're happy to help people if they are like, I don't want to, start from scratch. I don't want to drive all around town, blah, 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 and some people love that. Some people they pour their heart into every single little detail, handle, whatever. But some people, they don't want to do that. So we might kind of help steer them towards, talking to a handful of builders versus some others, just depending on what they're looking to do. And so that's kind of also part of the process. Like when you just come talk with us and we kind of help people out. So.
Well, this has been a fire hose of awesome information. Now, tell us a little bit more about the Home-A-Rama. And again,
sure.
When you explain that, pretend like it's you're talking to somebody who does not live in Indianapolis, because it's funny how many people actually don't know about the Home-A-Rama, which is mind-blowing.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So Home-A-Rama is an annual home show that is hosted by the Builders Association of Greater Indianapolis. It moves around to different locations, and this year it is at Holliday Farms. It starts on September 18th, and tickets are available through Baggy at baggy.com. And because of COVID restrictions, they are allocated per time slot, a certain number per time slot. So we encourage people to go online and purchase those, for the time slots they want. And unlike in past years, if people have been before, there's not a ticket booth or anything like that. So you have to purchase them online and reserve them ahead of time so that they know how many people will be on premise. There are 11 homes. They're fully furnished, completely custom, and you can tour all of them. The show runs like Thursday through Sunday for 3 weekends. With the first weekend is just a Friday through Sunday, but the rest of the two are Thursday through Sunday from 12 to 8. And I think the last time for entry is maybe around 5:30 or 6. I would check the website, but something like that. And you can just freely walk, all of the houses. You can see that. And then they also this year, they have kind of a virtual tie-in as well. So you can quickly go and follow up if you really loved like a paint color in a particular house, or you loved the landscaping or the kitchen design or something like that. So it's not even if people are just looking to buy a house, or anything like that. It can be like a great source to find like really, really talented local, vendors or contractors or, companies that are doing things here in Indianapolis and the surrounding area. So whether that be, a pool or a certain AV or speakers or sound system or fire pits, you'll see neat like games in basements, or you'll see like beer taps in a bar. There's just companies throughout Indy that, that are doing those things. So they'll all kind of have their services on display. Certainly interior designers, beyond just working with like the builder, you can get window design ideas, the whole slew. So it's, there's a lot of like really talented people, and because they're like local custom builders, they pull a lot of local folks. So it's kind of a neat event. People get really excited. It's a great thing to come and bring like friends, or, make it a date night. Like, probably the only date night people have had in a long time. So, and just go walk through like homes and check things out. Masks are obviously required. So, but besides that, it's very, very spread out, and it's, there's 11 homes, and you walk outside to each home. So it's a really neat setting. We're really excited. So.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I know tickets right now are $25. I'm hoping that Baggy will send me a promo code. I didn't hear back from them today. If I do, you guys can stay tuned in the comments. I will be sure to post that code if they send it to me. If not, tickets are $25. I would encourage you to go ahead and secure those. And they do have noted that you will need to, for the time that you pick, you will need to show up within that half-hour window if you would like to attend. Otherwise, For those who have attended in years past, it's, you can buy your ticket and just kind of go whenever. And this year, because of COVID, you are reserving your time. So be sure to do that. And then also from past experience, if you are someone who's more at risk or want to take your time and not be bogged down by tons of people, I would pick a weekday. Last year, I think I said 16, it might have been 10 or 12, but I know it was double digits for the amount of open houses that I held at the last Home-A-Rama. It was nuts. And there is a stark difference in traffic over the weekend for obvious reasons. So if you do want to take your time, see more details, maybe pick a weekday, but absolutely, if you can, it's like Pinterest brought to life, Instagram brought to life. So it's really fantastic to see some of those things in person, and then also different layout ideas. Even if you aren't thinking about building, I think a lot of times people, when they watch TV shows, they think, oh, that would be amazing to live there. And, you walk in and it's like, actually, this hallway is really narrow, or why does this door open this way? And not to nitpick on the builders by any means, but sometimes you just get to see those things brought to life in a way that in pictures might look great, but maybe for you or for your needs, it might not make sense. So it's a great way to visualize. And whether you're spending $1 or lots of dollars, it's still good to do your research so that you're happy with that investment, on whatever scale that might be. So I will be putting a link in the comments if you would like more information on this community. And if you have any specific questions for those watching and would like for us to connect you either with Hinkie Development directly or a specific builder, we're happy to arrange that. And then if you'd also like more information about STAR, fill out that form as well, because we can certainly get you connected with the financing information. Rich, Courtney, before we close out, do you have any last words or tips?
No, I would say you don't know much about Star Financial Bank. We are family owned, privately held, over 75 years. You get to know the who behind the banking versus the name on the building. So Rich and I have partnered together for a very long time. This has been a great opportunity with Betsy and the crew. So we're excited.
Absolutely. I agree.
Betsy, any last words?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if people want to learn more, obviously, we have a website, holidayfarmszionsville.com. You can also email us, it's just info@holidayfarmszionsville.com. And we're constantly updating things on Instagram for Holiday Farms, as well as like Facebook and Twitter. It's just a great way to see, like, from one day to the next, kind of things that are changing. All of a sudden there's a green or a tee box or a house, or, so we really love to keep people connected with that, because we don't allow anybody to go out onto the course. You can cause a lot of damage. It's private. It's an active construction site. So please don't ride your bikes. Don't do anything on the cart paths. Those are all private. And it can be very damaging to the ground. And so we really encourage people to reach out to us if they want to take a tour and explore and see more, instead of just trying to wander. Don't want to get hit by a bulldozer. So please don't do that. Just reach out to us. We're happy to take you around and show you the community in a safe way. So that would be the only thing I'd say. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for each of your guys' time this evening. And for those watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or use the form as I mentioned below, or not below, I guess it will be below once this video is posted, or as Betsy suggested, they've got contact info. Obviously, if you do use that form, then we will personally be able to make that connection and develop that relationship. So again, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. I will see you next week, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Bye.